we created this kit along with Karen Kirk, a geologist that works in the stone industry, to help everyone identify the different types of materials. It's not as easy as it used to be. There's some materials out there, calcite, quartzite, dolomitic marbles and stuff that look similar in pictures. Sometimes they're hard to tell the difference. So we want to be able to make it easy to identify. So in order here we have a soapstone, a gauged slate, flame granite, polished granite, bush hammered basalt, serpentine, travertine, sandstone, bluestone. I believe this is another sandstone, quartzite, onyx, and marble, but this is more in the line of the newer marbles that are problematic. So Olympia white, similar to like a calcite type slab. So here we have a list that shows the hardnesses of different minerals that will give you a reference in terms of how the stones should react, or what to expect when you get a scratch test reading. Here's an identification guide. Shows the different structures of various sandstones and materials, quartzites. What's included in the kit is this natural stone identification chart, front and back. Gives a little background on how each type of stone is formed. This reference guide for the hardness testing kit. The identification guide in this box, which includes a control surface glass, 3 different magnifications of a magnifying glass to look at different minerals and scratches and stuff like that. Little pack of razor blades, a dropper of hydrochloric acid for an acid test, and a Mohs hardness test kit to test the hardness of the scratches of the minerals. So for instance, this quartzite, they have it labeled as champagne quartzite, similar to like Cristallo. If we put acid on there, there's no reaction, there's no fizzing, nothing like that. If we put it on here, you can see the effervescence and it starts fizzing on this onyx as well. On the polished granite, there's no reaction. Soapstone, no reaction. On serpentine, serpentine is not a calcium-based stone. It's often referred. It's a serpentine. There's rainforest green, rainforest brown, Verde Alpi, Verde Patricia, all that type of stuff. Likely, and if it does, it's a very, very minor etch. Travertine, immediate reaction. Bluestone, sandstone, basalt. Basalt can actually etch in when it's at a high hone or polish finish. It doesn't react severely, but it can react in a more refined finish. So this is one method of testing, the acid test, to see if it reacts. If you're looking at a countertop or a piece, obviously you want to do it in an inconspicuous area, because that way if it does react, you're not going to leave a permanent mark if the client declines to do the work.
Oh, is it stone ID time?
We're live.
Huh?
We're live. No mark on the soapstone. I think I forgot the slate. Slate's another one. Does acid. There are acids out there. There are chemicals out there that will etch granite and quartzite, but they're not chemicals that are commonly found under the sink in a house. No reaction on the serpentine. So the only materials that have a visual reaction the onyx, the calcite, the travertine, everything else has withstood the acid test. All of these components of this kit can be replaced individually. We have replacement items if you run out of acid. You can also replace it with your own acid. So here's a piece of glass. That we're going to test with the number 6 first to see what happens. The number 6 scratched it. Let's see if a number 5 scratches it. Number 5 does not scratch it. So this glass is a 6. And that just kind of gives you a reference, a feel for like how hard a stone is going to be when you're unfamiliar with it. Whether you know it's a granite or you know it's a marble or a calcite, some of them can still be deceptively hard. So this will just kind of give you a reference. So something like travertine, everybody knows this by visual identification, but a number 4 scratches the travertine. A number 3 does not. Onyx does not scratch with a number 3. And it's actually barely leaving a mark with number 4. But I would say that's a hard 4. 5 should definitely leave a mark. The calcite, we'll start with 5. And there you go. Most people would assume that this material is harder than onyx or travertine. And it is, but not by much at all. The number 4 even left a mark. So this is the equivalent, has the equivalent scratch resistance as a piece of travertine. Now we can move on to slate. And that scratches with the number 3. So slate typically gets installed on floors and then coated with a protective coating like an acrylic gloss or semi-gloss, or if it's on a vertical surface, it doesn't see as much wear. Bluestone. Sandstone is very robust, but it has a very delicate surface. So here's a number 5. We'll test with the number 4. Number 4 scratches it, and a number 3 scratches it. A number 2 does not. It leaves a plastic mark, but it's not scratching the material. So when you see a material that barely scratches with a number and it scratches easily with the following number, or two similar materials that scratch and they're one number apart, like a 4 versus a 5, it's not a slight increase, it's an exponentially large increase in hardness, similar to the pH scale. Each numerical increase, single digit, is about 100 times harder than the last one. I think it tells us in here exactly what the increase is. So you can use the reference material. So it's a jump from 4 to 5 is exponentially harder than the previous number. Quartzite, especially these robust quartzites with these large crystalline structures, we're going to start with a 7. Nothing. 8. Nothing. So this is a 9. And that leaves a noticeable scratch, but not much. So this is a 9 on the Mohs scale of hardness, and it's barely leaving a mark that I can't even feel with my fingernail. So that should give you an idea of just how hard this stuff is if you're going to cut it or refinish it. Polished granite, 8 scratches, 7. The 7, it catches across, so on some of these minerals. So the whole idea with this kit for restoration, repair, and refinishing is that if you come up against materials that you're unfamiliar with, but you can identify them with an acid test first to determine that it is a calcite-based stone, but then do a scratch test so you kind of know what you're up against and what kind of time you're up against. Refinishing a travertine countertop is going to be a very efficient process as opposed to something like Fantasy Brown, which is going to be in the marble category, but a lot harder. It's going to take a lot more time to refinish that, refine the surface, remove the scratches, and bring it up to a high polish. So this kit can help you identify on the spot in a very small area what to expect when you're unsure of the material that you're working with. So these increase, they go 5, 10, and 15 times magnification. If you wanted to inspect the mica or the minor pits or the mineral structure in different types of stone. And the razor blades can be used for a simple scratch test. For instance, the onyx has slight damage from the razor blade. But somebody that's unfamiliar with these types of quartzites and the new marbles, calcites, dolomitic stones that are out there might misinterpret this for a marble. So doing a scratch test and seeing your razor blade become dull on the stone will tell you that it is in fact not a marble, and you should not treat it as a marble. So you can get these kits at MB Stone Care and mbstonepro.com, and I hope this helps.
Yes. So this is go ahead. That's it.
That's it.
What is this?